Today we're going to take a look at the software in Linux Mint that I normally use. So let's click on the Start here, and we're going to take a look at some of this software. Clicking on Start, let's go to Accessories first and just look at some of this comes with Linux Mint. I don't use all of this, but a lot of this I do use. Under Accessories, if you go down, GVim is the text editor that I use. Pretty often. This is what I always use when I'm having to do writing or text editing. I always use Vim or GVim. Then for passwords, I use KeePassXC, which I made some previous videos about that. Going down here, and so we also got this USB image writer and USB stick formatter, which I talked about previously in another video. I use that pretty often. So under games, I usually will install the Isle, Riot, Solitaire, and Mahjong. Those are the games that I like to use. Under graphics, I usually will install the GNU Image Manipulator, which is GIMP or GIMP for short. I always install that. It doesn't always come installed, but I'll install that soon after I install the operating system. So that's the GIMP program, GIMP, GNU Image Manipulation Program. Under Internet, it usually comes with Firefox, but I go ahead and install Chromium. Chromium is like the Google Chrome, but it's the free and open source version of that. It's called Chromium on Linux. And then you got qBittorrent, which I use if I need to download ISO, and I always try to get the torrent version of the ISO so that I can control the download speed. So I use qBittorrent for that. Under Office, it comes with LibreOffice, which is pretty much for me a replacement for any Microsoft Office software. LibreOffice, I have found for the most part, it can handle Word documents and Word Excel spreadsheets for the most part. Sometimes you may run into a couple glitches here and there. One other thing I recommend is to go ahead and download the Microsoft fonts also on your Linux Mint, so that if there won't be a problem with translating fonts from Office into LibreOffice Writer. Under Sound and Video, I usually go ahead and download and install the VSL Media Player, which I use for almost everything, from music to movies to media to almost everything. I also install OBS Studio, which I use to make videos with, and I'll download Audacity, which you can edit audio files with. It already comes with Celluloid and Rhythmbox, which I don't use Rhythmbox or Celluloid. Under Administration, the tools that you have backup tools, which I don't use because I made that other video about rsync. I use rsync to do my backups with. But you have different tools here: Software Manager, System Monitor. You got your terminals. I went ahead and downloaded and installed Terminator, which is my preferred terminal application. You got your Update Manager. So that's the basic software that I use on Linux Mint, on my Linux Mint computer. For the most part, I usually almost always, when I'm working during the day, will stay just in the terminal. So this is the Terminator terminal. You're running the bash shell. And this is what I do most of my work in, with writing or text writing. And then if I need to edit an audio file for making videos, I'll go here and I'll use Audacity. You can get Audacity on Windows. So this is the Audacity program. You can get this program right here on Windows. I think probably Mac. I hadn't had a Mac in a long time, so I don't know, but I assume you can get Audacity on Macs and Windows. It's kind of a cross-platform program. I also daily use this LibreOffice Writer. I use this to create PDFs. So I'll import the text from a file that I'm working on. Like I'll go and import text from a file, something I'm working on like this. I'll import all this text, and then I'll edit the text and fix it and do whatever I want to on it. And then I can click on this PDF button and then let's just do this to my desktop. I'm just going to leave it untitled, export it, and it'll create a PDF of that file. So if I go now to my desktop, there's an untitled PDF. There's the PDF. I click on that, and you see that's the text that was in my LibreOffice. I export it to a PDF file. That's pretty handy to have. That is pretty handy right there. If you, I also create PDFs using the Pandoc program. Pandoc is a command line program. Pandoc, Pandoc. You can create PDFs on the command line with Pandoc. Something I always install on my. That's another software I always install. Some of the command line software that I always install is a program called Verse. Gives you a random Bible verse. I also install a program called Bible-KJV, which installs a command line Bible. Let's see. Actually, you just type in Bible in the command line, but I think the package is Bible-KJV. But when you want to execute it on the command line, you just type Bible, and it'll pull up a text-based Bible. You have to read the help on that to know how to use it. And some of the other command line softwares that I use is like Git, Git, so that I can upload my stuff to a Git repository online, like GitLab or GitHub. So that's basically an overview of the software that I use on this computer on a daily basis. Hope this information helps you out. Subscribe to the channel, share the video, like, click on notifications. Thank you very much.